Hey, everybody, just a little introduction to this week's podcast. I don't want you to go anywhere. I don't want you to miss anything. Because we have like three different parts to this week's podcast. First off, we have the lake report. Mike Panarisi's going to show up. We're going to do a little lake by lake report and then go over a few items new to the store. Second part, we have a new section. It's going to be called The Juice. So might want to hang out for that. And then we're going to go into our normal broadcasting interview. This week we brought back Chris Brandt, the beef shaman. He's like our float tube guru, and we're going to talk about float tubes this week, and we're going to talk about lake closures and things like that. So I don't want to get too deep into it. Like I said, this is just a little introduction, but we have three parts today, and so stick around. Thanks for showing up to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Hey guys, Mike and Bruce here from East County Bait and Tackle, doing a weekly lake report. Right now I'm going to cover it like Miramar, Murray, still operating as usual. They're closed on, closed on the second Thursday of the month. Yep. Still, the bite's going on pretty good there.
So what is happening at Murray?
There's gangbusters going on.
Breakers. Yeah.
Small bait fish pattern's been the key there.
Yeah.
Match the hatch.
So small spoons, underspins.
Spoons, underspin, little spooks.
Yeah.
Noisy, not noisy, depends on the day.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other topic we get into later.
Definitely.
Noisy and not noisy. That was a big player here earlier in the year with crank baits and whatnot being noisy and not noisy.
Yep.
But so Miramar's also kind of biting.
Miramar's a little bit biting here and there. So
Yeah.
I think more of a flip bite, fish hiding in the grass.
Oh, okay.
Look for the bait. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Find the bait, find the fish.
Yeah.
Otay is still going strong. Luckily, it's been a little bit more crowded at Otay recently since the launch ramps closed at El Cap. You got to keep in mind, do not go to El Cap to launch a boat. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Right.
So,
so I was at Otay on Saturday, and it was pretty standard breakers in the morning until about 10 o'clock, and it was good fishing. I had my daughter out there, Ava, and she caught them, and it was like the same kind of things that I was talking about last week as far as breakers go. The light line, long casts, casting in the breakers. If you had forward-facing sonar, that made it a whole lot easier. But there was enough breakers out there to where you didn't need it. And small minnow kind of lures, spoons, little spoons. Like I said, pretty standard stuff. So what's going on with El Cap with the launch being closed? And then how's the fishing out there?
So the fishing at El Cap's been phenomenal the last few months.
Unfortunately, yes.
But unfortunately, with the city and the water levels, they shut down the launch ramp last Tuesday. When was that? September 11th? No. September 9th, they closed the launch ramp at El Cap. So right now, it's only kayaks, float tubes, or car top boats that you can pull off the car and launch. So
Right.
Other than that, it's still open, regular schedule, closed on closed on Wednesdays and closed on Thursdays.
Yep.
So.
And
Then right now we're coming into our fall time, so all that fall transitions, all the bites are going to start changing a little bit, cooler weather. And then coming up at the end of the month, next month, Hodges, Barrett, and Sutherland will be closed for the wintertime schedule.
yeah.
Until next spring.
Yep. So we're gonna lose. Those are pretty heavy float tube kayak lakes. So we're gonna lose those. They're gonna be closed. They're not gonna open until next year. But as a makeup for the float tube guys,
Yeah.
you got one of the best lakes in Southern California. Pretty much float tube only at this point.
Yeah, float tube and kayaks.
Float tube and kayaks.
So.
And so that brings us into what we have at
Here at the shop.
See, he's a trendsetter, or he sees into the future.
Try
and
to, at
he
least.
orders,
I try to predict them things coming up.
he orders
So,
accordingly.
Yeah.
And I'll let him talk about it, but I have float tubed for a long time in San Diego and around Western United States, so it's close to my heart. But I was never a kayak guy. Nothing against kayaks. It's just my personal preference. I'm a float tube guy, and Mike ordered a bunch of float tubes for the shop.
Yep.
So tell me what you got.
Right now we got a bunch of Outcast gear, variety of tubes. We got the Summit, which is kind of like starting out, lightweight, super packable. You backpack it into the mountains if you needed to. For instance, like trips up to the lower Sierra.
Oh yeah, it
Eastern
says
Sierras.
7 pounds right there.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So next one on the list, we got the Fish Cat Rise, which is kind of the entry level, lightweight, easy to go to float tube. It's not going to break the bank at $250. So for the bigger guys out there too, you can't fit in one of these small ones. We got a Fish Cat 4, and then we got a Super Fat Cat down below this one.
Nice.
So, and those are the fully loaded, big tube, carry a lot of gear,
Right.
most rods. If you want to, you can put a little mount for a trolling motor, fish graph, like name it on there. So
Right.
pretty customizable.
And then, and you have accessories to go along with them.
Exactly.
You
We
have
got float tubes,
fins, backpack, straps, 4 Outcast
Yeah.
boats.
4 boats, backpack straps, key, getting the tube off the ground to the lake from your car, back and forth. Make sure you don't rip the bottom of it, for sure.
Mhm.
And then we have all the waders, fins, accessories, like Bruce said. And then,
Now you have 2 different,
yeah,
like 2 entry-level waders, and then like a heavier duty wader kind of
Exactly.
thing, and those are Sims.
yeah, we have some Sims waders.
Yeah.
We have the Freestones,
Yeah.
tributaries.
Okay.
And then we have a nicer pair. And then we always can special order if you're looking for something specific.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So-
Like if I wanted the zipper, whatever.
Yeah, zipper G3s. or
G4Zs,
G4s.
like the super high-end
Yeah.
800. Sims will go, you can spend as much on waders as you want, and Sims you can get $800 waders.
Exactly.
Or you can come in here and get more of a entry-level wader at a much better price point, to say that,
Definitely.
and spend,
And how
whatever you
much
need to
you
do.
use it too. Some guys only go 5 days a year. Some guys
Right.
go 30, 40 days a year. so-
Right, yeah. So, and that's another thing about these 2 or these is I've already had guys come in and ask questions about these, like the Super Fat Cat, which you can't see on the camera right now, but it's way more expensive than the standard Fat Cat. But the standard Fat Cat or
Fish
Fish
Cat.
Cat 4 is a great float tube for your weekend guys. And if you're going out 2, 3, 4 days a week, then you might want to step up to the Super Fat Cat, which is a little bit more durable. It has better valves on it. It has a urethane bladder in it and whatever. But the Fish Cat 4 is a super great float tube also. I mean, I know most of this is the most popular one right here, the Fish Cat. So,
And for our waders, the nicer Freestones right here. Fully plated. Full tape seams. Nice guard all around the boot area.
Yep.
So you won't rip them.
and these are breathable.
They are breathable. Yeah, they're not all neoprene, so they're
Right.
not going to die in the summertime on these.
Right. So, which is important in San Diego because
We don't get
how
very
hot it
cold
gets.
water.
Yeah. And most of the places that we float tube in are not water contact, so you need to have waders on, and they want you to have chest waders on.
Yeah.
So to eliminate
And
any
another
bodily
thing too, if you got
functions
a
in the
little guy,
lake.
we got kids waders as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you want to get your little one started out there on a float tube or just wade fishing or anything, so this is the time.
Perfect. Awesome. And get ready because El Cap's going to be closed. To the long tramp at El Cap's going to be closed for months.
Yep.
The way it looks. Get your float tubing on, and experience that really good fishing at El Cap right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do the rain dance too this winter.
Yeah.
We need
Hopefully get that lunch backpack soon by December. Hopefully, but I don't know.
Crossing our fingers.
It's weather. So that's what it's going to take is rain. All right. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And come down to East County Bait and Tackle. Get your float tubes and all the other goodies that we have down here. Terminal tackle, whatever, rods, reels,
Bait, combos, you
shiners.
name it. We have
Yeah.
it. So
Come on down. See ya.
have a good day.
Hi, everybody. And tonight or today, we're going to be starting a new kind of series. I know we're kind of changing up the podcast a little bit here, but we're going to include a section every week now titled The Juice. So this week on The Juice, we are going to talk about nobody's favorite technique. It's one of mine, though. I really like it. And I think arguably that if you are going to be if you're going to fish tournaments in San Diego, you need to have this technique in your arsenal. It catches big fish. It catches numbers of fish. You get to fish heavy line with it. It's not necessarily a reaction type of bait, but it does make the big ones react. So what we are talking about is the infamous Carolina rig, and what you can do to make this easier on you to fish Carolina rig. Now, there is some hardcore Carolina guys in San Diego. It's always on the deck. I'm not going to say I'm a hardcore Carolina guy, but I definitely have at least one rod that's dedicated, tied up all the time, 24/7, 365. So, and it took me a long time to get over the aspect of, that it's a pain in the ass, because it is. It's a pain in the ass. It's one of those things that you just have to deal with, because of the amount of bites that it gets and the amount of good fish that it'll put on the boat. So the first and foremost thing, and we're going to start from the top to the bottom, is I'm not going to start top to the bottom. I'm going to tell you what one of the biggest things that I've done in my fishing that has helped me with Carolina fishing, and that is I have created this box right here. This is my Carolina box. What this has in it is a spool of line for leaders. It has my hooks, which 95% of the time I'm using one of these hooks for Carolina fishing. And then it has my weights. I have I have some tungsten weights, but most of the time I'm using lead. Sometimes I use tungsten. I'm starting to go towards tungsten, but that's another whole nother thing. Weights range from anywhere from a 1/4 ounce to 1 ounce. And most of the time, and again, we're going to get to that, most of the time I'm using 3/4 or 1 ounce. Swivels, glass beads, and that's it. But I have a dedicated box to it, so that when I go to break one off, which you will break a rig off, and you will break them off multiple times throughout the day. It makes it that much easier for me to rig up again. So just by making this box allows me, and it puts me in the mindset that this is going to be easier. I can do it more often, and it just makes the whole experience much better. That box right there. So I have that box in my corner in the so from top to bottom, what do we got here? So what's our baits? Number one bait for me, and I think it's for a number of people in San Diego, for a Carolina rig. It's no secret. I'm not putting out any super duper secrets or whatever, but it's right here. Not necessarily this color. This is just one of the colors that I pulled out, but this is a baby brush hog, not full size brush hog, not a mini brush hog, not a small brush hog. Or mid-size brush hog. This is the baby brush hog. They're $5 a pack at East County Bait and Tackle or Tackle Warehouse or wherever. That's it. That's number one bait. Number two bait, Zoom Speed Craw. That's it. You can go with a variety of different things. You can go with Cinco's. go with a 5-inch Senko. You can go with an Ica. You can go with a number of different baits, creature baits, worms. Sometimes we'll use a 10-inch worm. It just depends on how you feel, what you feel that they're going to bite on. If you're going to use a 10-inch worm, then you're going to have to size up the hook accordingly. But for the most part, and especially with these two baits that I just showed you, this is the number one hook. This is the hook to put in them. It's not a super heavy gauge wire hook. I don't like super heavy gauge wire hooks unless I'm really getting them. And then I'll go to another hook. I'll show you that one. But this hook gets me done most of the time. And again, you're seeing another owner hook here. And this is the 2.0. This is a 2.0 offset worm wide gap. Offset worm wide gap, which is different than just the offset worm hook. This one is a little bit thicker in material. It's a little bit stouter of a hook. It's not the standard offset worm hook. This the number here is 5102-121. Now you can go down to a 1.0 or you can go up to a 3.0. I normally do not go down to a 1.0. I go up to a 3.0. I go 2.0s and 3.0s. Most of the time I'm using 2.0s. But a 3.0, which is right here, same box, same hook, but it's a 3.0. The 3.0 fits that baby brush hog perfect. I think the 2 is good. I think maybe it doesn't dig as deep into the mud if you're going through mud with the 2.0 than you do with the 3.0, because the 3.0 adds a little extra weight to it. But that's whatever. That's beside the point. The only other time I'll go to a different hook is this Gamakatsu. This is the Gamakatsu hook, which is also a 2.0, but this is the round bend Superline hook, and a 2.0 round bend Superline hook. It's got this little Z pattern here for the offset, and that is a heavy gauge hook. You won't straighten this one out. So when they're biting, and I'm end up straightening out that 2.0 owner hook, then I'll go to this hook and continue catching them without having to worry about straightening the hook out. So those are our number 1 and 2 baits. So what do we have connected to the hook? Our leader. I have a spool of 14 pound, this is Mastiff. You can go with Sniper, you can go with whatever. This is what I've been using. It works great. 14 pound is the key for me, or the diameter. A lot of times I'm going by diameter anymore. So this 0.310 diameter fluorocarbon. I always use fluorocarbon for my leaders. It not necessarily for the bites. I think you might get just as many bites on monofilament, but for the fact that monofilament or fluorocarbon sinks, keeps your lures in the bottom, and for the abrasion resistance of fluorocarbon. So that's with my leader. Attached to my leader, I have a swivel. I know this is kind of rudimentary, but whatever. This is it. We're going through it. This is a standard crane swivel. I think it's about 100-pound swivel. It's not too small. It's not too big. I think it's 100 pound. It tests out to 100 pounds. I have a variety of different colors of beads, only because I don't care what color of bead I'm using. And right here goes on top of the swivel. Kind of protects. See, I got a couple of different sizes. I'm not real weird about sizes either. One thing about that glass bead, and the next thing is if you're using tungsten weights, the tungsten has a tendency to slide down and smash the glass. It breaks the glass a lot easier than the lead does. I can't remember ever breaking a glass bead with a lead weight, but I have done it numerous times with the tungsten weight. So that is the big question here. Do you go to the next above the bead? Do you go with a tungsten cylinder or lead. These are both 3/4. You can see the size difference there. That's 3/4 ounce lead, 3/4 ounce tungsten. Do they cast any differently? No, not really. You can really feel the bottom better with the tungsten. You can. In fact, there's times when I had to get used to the tungsten because I thought I was getting a bite. Like the leader will kind of slide down and clack against the glass, and it will wake you up, and it's like, oh, was that a bite? No, it was just the different feel of tungsten. So you got to get used to the tungsten. It's definitely a harder material, and you just feel so much more with the tungsten weight. But they are not cheap. These are pricey, and in my opinion, they get hung up just as much as this one. And they get hung up. Maybe a little less. Now the theory is that the tungsten is so hard that it doesn't wedge down into rocks. It doesn't grab rocks. It'll skip over them. And so you don't hang up as much with the tungsten weight. That might be true. I'll admit that might be true. The lead has a tendency to grab. It has a tendency to wedge into a rock and then stick hard. So that's one way or another. If you want to go the route of tungsten, go for it. Caught a lot of fish with tungsten this year. This was my big kind of breakout year with tungsten as far as a Carolina rig goes. I think it's great, but man, it's so darn expensive that that's the biggest drawback for sure. Here is a 3/4 ounce lead weight. This will get you by all the time, if need be. This thing works great. Most of the time I'm using a 3/4 ounce. I would say 90% of the time in my Carolina fishing, I'm using 3/4 ounce. If I don't do that, I'll go to a 1 ounce. Like that, 1 ounce weight instead of the 3/4. And it's not only for casting purposes and getting a super long cast, which is kind of critical when you're Carolina fishing. You're covering water with it. It is the speed that it achieves the bottom, like how fast it sinks, and the way that it stays on the bottom. It's funny because with the advent of forward facing and whatever, you see how much your weight will actually come off the bottom. Like you're fishing a 3/4 ounce weight, it's down on the bottom, and you turn the handle, and that weight, even though it's 3/4 ounce and you got a 4 or 5 foot leader, which I forgot to talk about, but the weight comes off the bottom. It comes off the bottom each time you move it. And so with that, you go to a heavier weight, you go to a 1 ounce weight. But there's a couple of things. There's a couple of tricks to keep that bottom contact. So a lot of guys will, on top of that, so from our weight, to the swivel, what's our main line? What are we fishing with? We're fishing most of the time with 20 pound. 20 pound mono, 20 pound fluoro. Now this is where it kind of gets weird, is that the fluoro sinks, mono floats. Now mono, and I fish with both. I go back and forth, and it just depends on what I'm fishing. If I'm fishing a lot of rock, I tend to fish with mono, because the mono floats and it tends to get hung less in rock. If it's really bad rock, the problem is with mono is it's not as abrasion resistant as fluorocarbon. So you got to retie. On the reverse hand, if you're fishing long distances over mud, over whatever, and you need to keep that bait on the bottom, then you fish fluorocarbon because the fluorocarbon sinks. And you're dragging all your line on the bottom. If you throw that thing out there 140 feet, 120 feet, that fluorocarbon is going to be on the bottom, and you're dragging the whole thing. So it's coming across rock, it's coming across whatever. So there's a little play there. You can fish monofilament, but the monofilament, you'll have a harder time keeping bottom contact. So many times you'll go with a 1 ounce sinker with the monofilament, and then you can still go with a 3/4 ounce with and keep the bottom contact with fluorocarbon. Just things that you need to things you need to think about. So that's our main line. Our rod and reel, my rod and reel is 7.5. I'm using a 7.5 foot Carolina rod. It was built for me. It's on an MHX blank Bree. When Bree and Ryan lived here, she built it for me. It was actually originally a flipping rod, and I still use it as a flipping rod. But the reason I like it is because it's fast. It's a moderate fast. It's not fast. It's not extra fast. It's a moderate fast rod, and I feel I land more fish with it, especially at longer distances. They don't tendency not to shake the hook out of them. But I'm having a 8-foot rod built for me, and I'm looking forward to that, which is also a flipping stick, an MHX blank. It's a flipping stick, and I'm looking forward to that, having that built for me. And you probably know him if you ever go into East County Bait and Tackle. Ryan doesn't work there anymore, but Ryan's a rod builder, and he's going to be building that for me once the blanks come in. The blanks are back ordered forever. So anyway, 7.5 foot to 8-foot rod. Couple of reasons for this. Why the long rod? Why the heavy rod? And it's a 4-power rod. It's not an extra heavy rod, but it's a heavy rod. And it is, for one thing, you're throwing 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce tungsten or weight, and you're using, in San Diego, which is another San Diego thing, we have a tendency to use very long leaders here. A lot of these shows, are back east, and they use these 3-foot leaders and whatever. And 3 foots can be okay. It can be okay here. But one of the things, and this is why we're calling it the juice, this might be the most juice thing of the whole thing other than the box, is use a 4 to 6 foot leader with your Carolina rig in San Diego, and you will get a lot more bites. That's about it as far as Carolina goes, but use that long leader. Oh, and the reel. The reel is on 8-to-1, so that you can, all my jig fishing, all my worm fishing, everything that I'm dragging with my rod tip is an 8-to-1. Frog fishing, working it with a rod tip, 8-to-1. Carolina rig, 8-to-1. Jigs, worms, free rigs, all that, it's all 8-to-1 because I'm pulling it with my rod tip. But one of the other things that I did learn was there's a couple of different, there's some retrieves that need to go along with the Carolina. Some guys will, actually twitch it, pull it, twitch it with the rod tip. Some guys will just drag it with the rod tip. Some guys will just keep the rod tip in a same place and then turn the handle, which is super boring. But the whole leaving your rod tip in one place and then just turning the handle, it's crazy boring. But you are so in tune with that bait and knowing exactly what it is, and when you come across that rock and you feel that rock, when you're going to get a bite. So that's something to think about. And it's only like one turn of the handle, or half a turn of the handle, especially with the 8-to-1. 8-to-1 takes in like 32 inches per turn of the handle. So if you're thinking of like that creature bait down there is imitating a crawfish, a crawdad, or something that's along the bottom, just one turn of that handle or half a turn of that handle is 15 inches. That's long. That's far for a crawdad to move. Think about it. Slow. You want to move slow. You want to pause a lot. It's not a speed. It's not a, this is a technique. It's like jig fishing. it's a technique of, you know that the fish are there. It's a little bit of a search technique. You can use it to find fish and whatever, come up on a spot, throw a Carolina in there for a few casts, and it'll find fish for you, especially those bottom fish. And you can come back and finesse them later if you need to. But it really shines when you have an area, have a rock pile that those fish are on, and you're just coming in there and throwing that Carolina in there and just like letting it soak. Like I'm talking 5-minute casts, 8-minute casts, 10-minute casts, like you get it out there, you get it to the bottom, you get tight to it, and you don't touch it. And you just let it. Those fish, they know it's there. They know that bait is there. It's like jig fishing, It's like you don't have to move it a whole lot. They know it's there. They're swimming around that rock pile. That thing comes and lands 5 feet from them. They know that bait is there. So you give it a little turn. It goes 15 inches. It goes a foot. They're going to come over and look at it. They know it's alive at that point. They're going to come over and look at it. Leave it there. Slow. Leave it there. Give it 30 seconds. Count in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll slow you down. Count to 30. Turn the handle. Turn it half a turn. That thing moves another foot. There they are. Boom. Set the hook. You got to set the hook hard with them. A lot of times you'll have a lot of line out there, big, long, sweeping rod, and set the hook hard. Turn the handle. Gain that line. Start getting that fish coming to you, and you'll get to the boat. Anyway, that's the juice on Carolina rigging in San Diego. Hope that helps you guys. Hope I didn't give too many secrets out there. It's Carolina rigging. There ain't no secrets. We're going back to our regular scheduled podcast.
We would like to welcome Chris Brandt back to the show, the Beef Shaman. He's got his own YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of subscribers over there. If you guys haven't checked him out, please go over there and check his channel out. Subscribe to his channel. Good guy. He's a float tube guy. He's got his own shtick going. He drinks little beers and stuff while he's out there on the lake. And he's got some big ones in the past. He has caught some gigantic ones. Oh, okay. He said, give me 5 minutes. No problem.
All good. Thanks for the invitation, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for accepting on the last minute basis here. There was a couple of reasons that your name came up, and
okay.
It's turning into a float tube mecca in San Diego. As in, there's going to be no more launching in the lakes. I mean, there's no more launching at Cap. Otay is coming up, is going to be on the Axe block here shortly. And so it's just like float tube. And so I was like, man, I need to get Chris back on.
I'm happy to talk about it. It's a travesty, but I will use the resources that have been made available to me. How about that?
There you go.
I went to Cap yesterday, and it was eerie being out there. I had the entire lake to myself on a Sunday afternoon, and there was no ice. I got to the north end or the north arm in my tube, and there was literally no one else in the north arm at all.
So that was funny, because that's one of my questions that I was going to ask you is how long in your tube, which you have a special motors and whatever, how long in your tube does it take you to get back there? And can you get back there and back to your car on one battery?
On one battery. I fished there. If I go straight there, it'll take me probably 25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I mean, it's time, especially when it's first light. And you're looking at all the shoreline around going, I want to fish this. But it's an investment too, because I know now, especially, that's going to be an area that doesn't get fished nearly as often because people aren't willing to put out the effort.
Oh yeah.
To get out there. So it's going to be,
especially first thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's plenty of kayakers out there with their trolling motors, and they'll be back there, but not I mean, not there's not going to be 20. There's not going to be
No,
10 back there
no,
every day.
correct. And there's
Yeah.
not going to be tournaments there every weekend or every
No.
other weekend. I mean,
No.
the kayak tournaments, but even that isn't that, not nearly as much as it was with the, the boats. But I feel bad for all the bass fishermen. They get mad at me in the float tube when they can't fish with their boats and I'm out there fishing in my tube. I've had people actually come up and get mad at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I really feel bad that people
Yeah.
can't fish Hodges and,
Yeah.
now
Oh
Cap.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So how was Hodges this year for you?
Hodges was definitely slower this year than it was last year.
Yeah,
There
that's
was
what I
no
heard.
big shad spawn this year.
Oh, okay.
Where last year, the banks are foaming and the
Yeah.
fish are just busting up on the shoreline. That happened like for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And I didn't see any giant, there was no huge shad activity this year. The fish are really spread out.
Yeah.
And I think it's a much smaller lake, so it's getting a lot more pressure where everybody just goes straight across,
Yeah.
to Fletcher Point there and around the corner and heads down that shoreline
Sure.
and does the exact same. Everybody goes the same route, basically.
Yeah.
So I had plenty of good days, but I don't think it was nearly as productive as last year and
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah. So did you make it up to Sutherland this year?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did
It,
not.
it was pretty good
Yes, it.
for us boaters and whatever. We had good fishing, but not like last year.
Yeah.
Last year we had a couple of spots where we could go and catch. We could literally go and catch 20 pounds in the morning, and then go on for the rest of the day, and do whatever for the rest of the day. But we didn't see that. But it was good. There was some
Good.
good rock piles. There was some good fishing to be had for sure.
Yeah, and Sutherland was another one of those. Was it last year or the year before where even like the parking lot was flooded? I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yes.
And now it's back down to nothing again.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, well, they just started drawing water out of it, so I don't think you'll be able to launch next week out of Sutherland, and but it's going to close at the end of the month, just like Hodges.
Right. Yeah, I know
So,
Hodges usually closes the end of October. Is
oh,
Sutherland the
okay.
end of September?
Maybe it's at the end of October.
Okay.
We were under the assumption that it was they closed at the same time.
No, I know Hodges is always the end of October and then the beginning of February it opens.
Okay.
But hey,
Yeah.
we get
Yeah.
out there when we can, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
And you got that 10 at Cap, right? I saw that.
I
Not too
did. I
long
got
ago.
it. I got lucky and got a 10 right there before we lost the launch ramp. Like
That's
the week
a
before.
nice little gift the week before it closes down.
It
Says
was good.
we'll be
Yeah.
waiting
Oh
for
yeah.
you.
Yeah. That was my only 10 this year, so I was pretty darn happy with that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only gotten 110 this year, but always happy with a double digit fish, right?
Now, did you get that at Barrett?
At Poway.
Oh wow.
I did a day at Barrett where I invited some people and did a private day,
Yeah.
and then one of the people got an 11 on
That's
that day.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy out of Barrett.
It was a monster, absolute monster.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if you can get them, I mean, wherever they end up showing up, right?
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
always
it's
a blessing.
probably an 11-pound northern strain.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
it really is. Now Morena has Florida strain, right?
Yes, they do.
But they
So
put water from Morena into Barrett.
yes, so Barrett is not pure northern strain at this point,
Right.
but from the scale surveys and whatever, it's only 6% Florida's. It's
Okay.
still so small, it's such a small and they've they'll interbreed or hybridize with the northerns and whatever. So it's a very small percentage of Floridas that have come down from Morena. Yeah, it's still basically pure northerns in there, and they
Yeah.
bite that way. You can
They
tell.
do.
You can see
They
it.
do. It's a different lake for sure than all the
Yeah.
other lakes in San Diego.
Oh yeah, for sure. So tell me. I know we touched on this last time, but tell me about your float tube and how is it different than other float tubes? Is
Is it
Okay,
what? And for one thing, what kind is it? What kind of float tube are
so
you running?
I use the Outcast Super Fat Cat float tube.
Okay,
I've been using Outcast for 20 years, more than
me
20
too.
years. Love the company, and there's so many other new companies out there, but I like the quality. I like everything. But I created an external frame with
Mhm.
two robotic thrusters that goes on it. Um, and I can go forward and backward and basically use it like a true trolling motor and put it on creeping and just move forward with
Yeah.
it, which is actually my favorite. Besides being able to get to all the places other float tubers can't, or we'll use the drill motor or whatever. But once they get to where they're going, they still have to go backwards everywhere,
Mhm.
and I can creep forward at like zero point 0.1 miles per hour and just truly troll down a shoreline and
That
just
is
work.
so cool.
And it's my robotic lounge chair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
got that. I've got a little Garmin Striker 4 fish finder on there.
Uh-huh.
All my attachments. So it's I always seem to be adding more and more stuff every month. Like
Yeah.
I now
Yeah.
keep an umbrella on there to keep shade, or if it's raining, that I have an umbrella attachment. Um, an extra net because I lost my net a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
Just it's fun. It
Very nice. So
makes it fun.
how big of a battery does that use?
It's a 28 amp hour battery, so it's not
That's all?
that big. Yeah,
That's small.
it's really small. It's used for underwater ROVs, the
Uh-huh.
little robotic vehicles. So I had a robotics team help me design the system, and so I don't go fast, but I can go basically all day on one battery, but I'll carry an extra two smaller batteries with me.
Hmm.
Um, so that way, if I get really far and I start running out of battery or I want to go someplace else, I've got the extra backup juice um, to be able to get to where I'm going. But it's not a big battery system at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the entire component system. I have a video that I put out that goes through the entire system. If you look up, what is it? Outcast Super Fat Cat with robotic thrusters or something like
Okay.
that.
All right.
It goes
Well,
through the entire system of what it is and how it works.
yeah. Well, speaking of which, so you have your own YouTube channel. I was
Yeah,
touching on that before you came on, and it's the Beef Shaman
yeah,
on YouTube, and you have a ton of subscribers already. People love
yeah.
you.
Gonna
But
hit
is
3,000 here in
is
a
that the
month or
correct?
so.
Where do I go to subscribe for that?
Uh, YouTube, just if you look up Chris Brandt, the Beef Shaman, one
Uh-huh.
word. It's a weird name, and but it's one of those that I guess can get stuck in your head. People come up to me. I had a guy yesterday come up. Are you him? Are you the Beef Shaman? Like, yeah. And people always ask, where did that name come from? It was a nickname I got in college. I was the president of the archaeology and anthropology club in college. Did a fundraiser where we did a barbecue and ended up selling out with a recipe that I created in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I didn't have more, but I had one of the other guys from the club come up to me and said, "Dude, you're the Beef Shaman." And it just kind of became like a joke, but became a thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chris Brandt, the Beef Shaman, and yeah, getting a lot of good content and a lot of good draw from a lot
How
of people watching.
are you on a schedule? Do you try to put out like once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever?
I
What kind
try
of
to put
schedule are
out
you?
once a week.
Oh,
Not
okay.
always successful with that,
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard. Yeah, I have to remind myself I'm doing this for fun,
Right.
but I like putting out the content on a regular basis. I like goal setting and being able to say, okay, I want I want to be able to cover this, cover that. Sometimes just do a fun day fishing. Other time do more of an educational tutorial on how to use this bait or that bait,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
this lake or that lake. But I definitely try to stay once a week, but that can be tough
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
People don't like watching fishing videos when you don't catch fish.
It's like so I guide, and I've been in the sport fishing business for a long, long time,
Yeah,
salt water and this and that. And it always comes down, you'll have a slow day.
Right.
and you always hear the, oh, that's okay. We're just out here for the scenery, and it's been a great trip anyway. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, that's bullshit. That's
Yeah, yeah. You didn't pay me to come out and do. Yeah, I get it.
right. We're here to catch fish. And I always had this mantra of bent rods equal smiles, and everything flowed so much easier when you catch fish.
Yes, it does. I mean, the day goes shorter, unfortunately, when you don't catch fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's always much more fun to catch fish.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
love that. It's funny you brought up the guide thing. I remember right before I was on with you before, you had Andre Casey
Oh
on there.
yeah. Right.
And I was so excited to watch that video. He was so enthusiastic, and
Yes.
finally have a trip with him next month.
Mm.
So I
Oh
haven't met him
yeah.
personally before, but I'm super excited to get to fish with him.
Oh yeah. You won't be disappointed. Like he's out there so much. He's always on them. Just the other day, I'm sure you saw it last week. He was at Otay and he recorded. He had 108 to the boat.
I
108 fish
saw
to the
that.
boat. Yeah.
That's amazing. When you get
Yeah.
it dialed in, I mean, you get it dialed in, right?
Yeah. 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 So
That was
Otay's pretty fun. It's a lot of breakers. A lot of breakers
it,
right now.
that's what I've heard. That's one of the hardest things is deciding where to go when I'm only fishing like once a week. It's like
Mm.
where do I choose to go? What's the latest intel from here or there? Are you listening to this person or that person or whatever? It's like, oh man, it's
Yeah.
always the tough decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that nobody's at Cap is it would be a no-brainer for me. So I've got my own flow tube,
Okay.
and I have an Outcast pontoon boat.
Oh, I've looked at
And
those, like the Pack 900 I was looking at,
yep,
and
it's the one with 4 chambers. So
yeah,
two on each side, and you sit lower in the water, but you still have the really good flotation. So I have
right.
one of those, and I'm with the advent of lithium batteries, it's just changed everything. So I've come to the realization I'm going to put a motor on it.
Yeah, just
You
get a
know?
trolling motor and one of
Yeah.
the lithium
Yeah.
batteries, and it makes
Yep.
what a difference. What
Oh
a
yeah.
difference. Not having to have a
I want to
lead
be able to
acid
go.
battery. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was always against it. Like when I would go up north and fish Henry's Lake, Idaho, and this, that, there was always these Utah guys, and they always had trolling motors. But this was way before lithium batteries, and they had these
Right.
gigantic 31 series, 70-pound batteries on their float tube. And I was like, no way. No way am I doing that.
Yeah.
How do you kick around when you finally get there? You're stuck.
I have no idea. Yeah,
So
exactly.
so I have a little 50 amp 12-volt battery out there. It weighs 14 pounds, and I'm just like,
Wow.
you know what? I'm going to slap a motor on this, and I'm going to the back end of Cap.
Heck yeah. Absolutely. And you said it. I mean, if you have the option to be able to do that and there's not going to be any boats there, why wouldn't you do something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's like when Hodges closed down, I was out there all the time, just like, wow, it's weird being out here without, other
Mhm.
boaters, but if it's available, might as well utilize what we have.
Right. Yeah, I know, and it's a sad thing, and it bothers me. I mean, we're trying to make it better through the Friends of Lakes, through
Yep.
Friends of San Diego Lakes. We're putting a lot of effort into this, but it's kind of out of our hands with the water levels. It's one thing to fight
Right.
against the budget and to
Yes,
go to city council, and we won. We got our lakes to stay open. Now we just don't
absolutely.
even have any lakes to fish, and yeah, they're just
I,
pulling the water out.
I had that conversation with somebody today that being basically living in a desert, you'd think the government of that area would prioritize water over just about everything else, but apparently it's not the priority, and it's
It's
really
not.
sad.
It's not. I was trying to explain to my wife. I was telling her about Lower Otay,
Hmm.
and I said, well, the bad thing about Lower Otay, or the bad thing that's happening right now, is that they have water. They have water in Barrett, and Barrett is like 3/4 full.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
still like
plenty of water.
80%. Yeah,
But the flume or the transfer system between Barrett and Otay is broken. It's leaking, and they don't want to use it. And she says, she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And my
uh,
wife is not even any. She's not a fisherman, but
right.
it blows her mind. Like, you got to be kidding me. This is so you have a water, but you can't transfer it because the transfer system is not up to date. It's not maintained. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
it's not maintained.
Yeah,
Right? It's just like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
oh my
we have
gosh.
a bus system, but none of the buses are running right now.
There you
So,
go.
you
There
know,
you go.
it's it's mind blowing. Whether you're a fisherman or you just enjoy the lakes or you just want to be able to have water in your house, you'd think it would be a priority.
Yeah. So it's not like we're gonna run out of water. They
Right.
they will always have water. You turn on the faucet and we're gonna get water
Oh yeah.
because they'll just buy it from Northern California. They will eventually just have to buy it, which is what they don't want to do. And then that's why they're using all the water in the lakes. They don't have any
Yeah.
money to buy water from Northern California, but they will buy it if push comes to shove. They'll go ahead and buy it from Northern California. It's not like we're
Right.
going to run out of water. There's plenty
No,
of
no, we're
water.
not going to run out of water, but if we have all the infrastructure in place to make it happen, then I felt
Still
so bad
frustrating.
looking at Hodges, because it fills up faster than basically any other lake in
Yes, it does.
San Diego,
Yep.
and just watching all the water go into the ocean just made
Yep.
me so sad.
Yep.
It just made me
Yep.
so sad.
Well, it made us. We felt the same way about El Cap 2 years
Yeah,
ago. It was full. It was all the way back into the trees, way back
right.
in there, and they let her go. They there was a river running out in front of my friend's house who lives below the dam. The
Okay.
San Diego River was
Yeah.
running in front of their house, and that went directly into the ocean. So yeah, it was a real scratch your head moment, as why they were doing that.
Right.
But anyway,
I know we could talk about that all night, but
I know, and I don't want to. I don't want to.
no.
We're going to be
Understood.
talking about that in future podcasts here soon enough. So what was your outstanding moment from this year? I feel like our float tube season with Hodges closing, Sutherland closing, we're kind of coming to the end of the Barrett's closing.
Yeah,
What was your outstanding moment of the year?
I got a 10 and a 7.5 within a half hour of each other at Poway.
That's a good day.
That was a great day. So that was pretty outstanding. Um, I don't know. I had a couple of great days at Barrett that
Yeah.
were just where I was laughing out loud by myself fishing, just going, this is incredible.
So how was Barrett this year? Because some years are good, some years are not so good. How was it this year?
Okay, the year started out absolutely spectacularly. I
Mm.
mean, it was 100 fish days where
Okay,
you're getting 3 and 4 fish over 5 pounds,
that's
and
good.
right, it's not just 1 pound clones. They were solid fish,
Mhm.
but there were no busters this year to speak of at
Mm.
Barrett, and
Yeah.
I feel like the fish are actually really tired right now. I went there um, last week or 2 weeks ago, and I got 12 for the day,
Okay.
and that's any of the lakes in San Diego, or most of the lakes in San Diego, you get 12 bass for the day, you'd feel decent. I'd be
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
But Barrett, if I'm going to take the time, effort, and the cost, you're expecting more. But um, I think it slowed down as the year went on.
Hmm.
And again, I didn't see quite the shad amount that they have had in previous years.
Hmm.
So I it was a good year to start out with and kind of declined after that.
Yeah.
And a lot of fish ended up getting skinny, which I kind of call the Senko sickness,
Oh.
because most of those end up coughing up like 5 or 6 Senkos when
Yeah.
you pick them out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay. It was a fun year. I had a great year at
Good.
Barrett.
Yeah.
El Cap's been fun this year too. I didn't fish it as much as some of the other lakes, but I will be fishing it this fall and winter quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Absolutely take advantage of it because there's some outstanding wintertime fishing at El Cap.
Oh yeah,
Like shallow water. It'll be 54 degrees, 55, and we're catching them on square bill crankbaits in this deep of water.
right.
First thing in the morning. Like
Yep.
it can be really, really good in the winter.
Exactly. And that's very different than a lot of the other lakes where it can
Yeah.
be just a challenge to find fish, or you got to fish 40, 50, 60 feet deep to
Yeah.
be able to get them.
Right.
But it's been a fun year in San Diego for bass fishing. I think I've had a great time. But there's always want more. It's just
Oh yeah.
always want more. Can never have enough
Yeah.
of all the things.
Now, so do you ever float tube the bay?
I do. I have quite a few bay videos that I do. I do Mission Bay, do San Diego Bay, both North and South Bay.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
get a lot of people that say I'm crazy to float tube the bay, but I'm always very cautious. I'm not going out in front of any Navy ships or anything like that, and
Right.
avoiding even the power yachts where the people are doing things. But the bay is super fun in a float tube. I always try to manage it with the tides, go out, go away with the outgoing or incoming tide, come out with the outgoing tide.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of fun. I try to tell people it's a fishery that we have in San Diego when you want to change it up and you want to either get something different or get confident on baits that you may not be normally using in the lakes. And that's actually where I gained confidence on using chatterbaits when I had never really used them in the lakes, and I started using them in the bays and was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
bays
I
are
tell
super fun.
Yeah, I tell people that the San Diego Bay is one of our, if not the best fishery that we have.
Yeah.
Like you can go out and catch 25, 40, 50 fish in an afternoon and get bit and just catch them.
Yeah. And they fight. I love spotties are little angry fish.
Yeah.
Or halibut if you want to go out and get the halibut. And now one of the interesting things, I guess the bonefish bite in the South Bay is going off right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, we're like 20 bonefish a day kind of things.
Oh, yeah, that's good fishing.
Yeah. And it's something, that's a resource that not that many people take advantage of, but it's out there if you can find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I heard they school up like that. You can get them in on a deep hole or whatever, and it's like start picking away at them.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And especially on light line, and they're not going to get, 24 inches, but on light line in the bay, I mean, super fun. And I think that's something people don't do as much as I'm a big proponent of light line. I just love fishing it. And people kind of overpower the bay and 25-pound test for spotted bay bass.
So when you say light line, what are you talking about? What kind of tackle are you using?
Like 4 to 8 pound test.
Yeah.
BFS gear.
Okay.
Spinning rod, that's 6-pound test, like a medium light action spinning rod. And a jig or something that's like 16th ounce or 8th ounce.
Oh wow.
And
pretty small.
Yeah, and I've found if you're using 4 to 6 pound test, even a lighter bait's going to get down because it's not going to have nearly the drag that the heavier line will be for the light baits with the surge and dealing with the current and stuff.
Yeah.
And hey, if anybody's never caught a spotted bay bass on 4-pound test, that's a challenge. Keeping it out of the grass and stuff. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Totally. I got a 28-inch halibut on 8-pound test this year too.
Oh,
and that was fun. That's take you for a ride, especially in a float tube.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you hook that and it freaking takes some string.
Exactly. It's like hooking one of those big catfish at El Cap when you throw in a jig and you're like, whoa, this is the biggest bass I've ever caught. And you're like, oh, wait, it's a 30-pound catfish. Still fun.
Yeah. We were in a night tournament there earlier this year, and my backseater, he was kind of new to the whole bass fishing scene, and he'd never really fished these lakes. And he caught a catfish earlier in the night, and he fought it in. And he's like, "Oh my god, this is the biggest catfish I've ever seen. This is so huge!" And it was like 18 pounds or so.
Okay.
I was like, "Yeah, that one's great, man." I didn't want to, cloud his moment. And
Right. They
then
get.
then we went. I was like, I threw in my 10-inch plastic worm on this other rock pile, and I hooked one, and I fought it, and it was big. It was a big one. Well, I mean, it was big. It was, I don't know how big it was, but it was like 50 pounds, 40
Yeah.
pounds, 50. And I bring it up to the boat. His eyes were like, "No way." Like, that's
Yeah.
a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Right. It's so nice
Yeah.
to add that weight to your bag.
Oh
But-
yeah, it would have been. Yeah. Could have taken the whole year.
right. Exactly.
But yeah, yeah, the catfish thing. That's kind of, it's always. I thought, like when I got that 10, I was like, I hooked it, and it started going out to deep water, and it's like, oh, it was a catfish. Nah, I don't think so. And finally,
Right.
saw the head.
When you don't see him doing the little side to side head thing and stuff, then
Yeah.
I know catfish. You can almost tell it's like a shark underwater, that they just perform differently.
Yeah. What kind of baits were you using when you got that 10 and that 7 at Poway? Poway always intrigues me. I don't fish up there.
Poway is, I think they have the smartest fish in San Diego at Poway.
That's one of the reasons I don't go there.
It's really hard. This was during the spawn, actually.
Okay.
So that's kind of my bread and butter. Where I grew up was fishing Poway, and I'd be able to go there, walk the whole lake. My parents would drop me off there in the morning, and I'd spend the whole day there. And I learned, every little rock, every little bump in the lake that way. But those were both jig fish. But my best day ever was at Poway, and that was sitting by myself, 16 fish over 3 pounds from one spot, including a 10 and an 8, just throwing a jig into deep water at the buoy line.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I was, after that, I was just blown away. But those were both jig fish. I'm a jig guy.
Okay. So, you know what I didn't touch on last time I talked to you, and actually, I didn't even find out about it until after the whole podcast was done, was you have a 19-pound bass.
I
You
do.
caught a 19-pounder.
Yeah. 19.4.
Did that come from Poway too?
That was Miramar.
Yeah, I was going to say Poway. That would have been a lake record at Poway, I think, right?
It would have been.
But
yeah.
So Miramar.
They're definitely still in Poway at that size. I mean, you can see them.
Yeah. I can display it here. They're just super smart.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was at Miramar. That was back in '98, and I got that on a live water dog when they were still allowed.
Yeah. That was about right. That was about right when they got outlawed.
Yeah. It was a year or two after that. But it was 28 inches long, 28 inches around. And I think it's
28 inches long. It's funny. I've seen two 28-inch fish this year out of Cap.
I saw one this week.
One was 10 and a half, and one was 11.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it was that 11-pounder this week. Did you see that?
I saw the picture. The guy who got it was leaving, or just getting there when I was leaving.
Yeah, 11-pounder.
Yep.
Beautiful fish.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the one I got was super pregnant. It was
yeah, totally.
A massive fish, and got it and was able to let it go. And then I got Ed Zaralski from the Union Tribune, found out about it, and then just blasted me. Why didn't you call me and let me know? I would have come there and taken lots of pictures. And I'm like, sorry, I caught it, and I just wanted to make sure it was okay when I let it go afterward.
Yeah. At least you got that one picture, and that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a Polaroid taken by the ranger.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
And there's still a second Polaroid in the desk at the ranger station, the little boat there. That's in a drawer somewhere, but it was only 2 pictures taken of it.
Is that the second biggest fish out of Miramar?
No, that's like the 5th biggest fish out of Miramar.
No kidding.
Yeah, they have, I think, 3 fish over 20.
Oh my God. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's back in that time period where people were
Yeah.
getting there was the one that had the diving weight in the belly of
Oh,
it.
that's right.
And then there was another one that may have been netted and it was already dead, but there,
Well,
it was all
that
all
was
the
the
controversy behind it.
yeah, that was the first one.
Right.
I got to hold the mount. I went over to Jim Brown's house, and he
Oh,
had the
okay.
mount. He's got the mount of that fish, of Zimmerle's
Yeah.
bass, and it was 20. And I got a picture of me holding the mount. But yeah, that was
Oh,
that was like a basketball. He said it was egg bound, probably
yeah.
what it was, and
Could have
that's why
been.
it was so fat and so big. She was egg bound. She couldn't release her eggs.
Right. I had chameleons that happened too, and they got just
Um,
like gigantic and then
yeah,
died. But
yeah.
yeah, it was people say, what are you going for your new PB or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm okay. If I never get a fish bigger than that, I'm okay. I don't
That,
mind.
that one that bird is flown.
Right.
That was
Exactly.
we already achieved that. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's funny. On the last time you asked me a question, I've thought about it a lot. You asked me about jigs because you asked me what my go-to bait was, and I said a jig, and you said, "Do
Uh,
you like rubber or silicone skirts better?" And I
oh
said
yeah.
I go back. I said I go back and forth on it, and I've really thought about it since then. I like rubber skirts better than
Do
silicone
you?
skirts. I do.
It seems like rubber is a San Diego, like a standard for San Diego. A lot of the prominent jig guys that are known as jig fishermen all gravitate towards that living rubber skirt.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. I just seem to get bit more on it than I do on the
Yeah.
silicone ones. But
Yeah. Now, what kind of do you make your own, and what kind of head do you like using, like with the shape?
my favorite is the Bitsy bug, the Strike King Bitsy bug.
Oh, okay.
I like the more compact designs.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really sad. I contacted Strike King and it has been discontinued. They are no longer making the Bitsy bug. And I was really actually kind of aggravated at that.
I think I heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it because they were like $3 each.
Right. You could
Two
go to
ninety
Walmart,
nine.
and I actually had somebody tell me at Barrett one day, start fishing this. You can go to Walmart, get them for just a couple bucks each. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I
Yeah.
really started liking the size of them. And now I like the smaller jig profile,
Yeah.
sometime with a bigger trailer.
Mhm.
But I like that style of head. I like the football heads too.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't get into like the arky heads very
Mhm.
much. I don't really fish swim jigs very much. Um, I don't know. I've tried a couple other brands also, and the the eyes seem to get stuck in the rocks a little bit more.
Yeah.
The VMC finesse jigs I tried, and the heads just get stuck a little bit
Mhm.
more. Dig into the grass or into the muck.
Yeah.
Um, what's your go-to jig head shape?
Well, so I pour my own, and I would say an archy head,
Are you?
but I use a football head a lot.
Yeah.
And I use a football head with a 90-degree line tie coming off of it,
Right.
so that it pulls that jig. When I pull it, it stands that jig up and
Right.
and kind of walks it across the bottom. It gives it a little
Makes
bit more
total sense.
action.
Yeah.
So I've put a little bit of, and then, but all the Arky jigs they're all 60-degree line tie. But the thing about the Arky jigs is they come through anything. They come through
Right.
wood and rock, and it's like they just come through it. When a football head gets hung up, it's like pretty limited to rock and
True.
sand and dirt, mud.
Yeah. Do you
So
fish swim jigs very much?
I do, I do.
Mhm.
In fact, that's what my biggest fish came on a few
Oh,
years
really?
ago at Otay. Was I got an 11 and a half on a swim jig, and I fish it. So I fish them. Yeah, I fish them here, but I'm really fishing a lot at the river, whether it's
That's what I was going to
Havasu
say. Yep.
or the lower river. That's
Hmm.
one of the. It's always tied on,
Yeah.
always. And but then so obviously, I fish them here, and I'll fish them a little differently than a lot of people do. Is I'll fish them deep instead of just you can run the bank and just chuck them
Right.
into the tulies and wind them back and do whatever. But my best days with the swim jig have been 12 feet, 12, 14 feet of water, casting it out, working it along a deep grass line
Okay.
kind of thing, like off the
Makes total
bottom
sense.
and in bluegill patterns, usually.
Yeah. 'Tis that season right now, right?
That's exactly right. And I caught that 11 and a half in November.
Oh, did you?
Doing the same thing. Yeah. It was a November fish. And, but that's what I was doing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's
maybe soon coming. A lot of grass at Otay. I was there the other day and it's always been, it's like in the back of my head, I'm like, I should be throwing a swim jig. I think we should be throwing a swim jig. So maybe soon coming. Maybe.
It's funny you say that because there's so many baits where I know I should be fishing this type of bait at this place at this time.
Yeah.
And then I go back to whatever my confidence is for that lake at that spot or whatever, unless I really, force myself and put down that rod and pick something else up and say, okay, for the next hour, I can only fish this or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I got a tournament there at Otay this week with the club that I'm in, San Diego Bassmasters. So I don't know.
nuts.
There's gonna be a lot of 10 and 12 pound bags. It seems like a lot of 10 pound bags, it seems like.
Right. A lot of clone fish.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
especially people get on the busters and it's hard to,
Yep. It's hard to break away.
right.
They're biting, everybody's having a good time, but you're not catching your 3 pounders. You're not
But
catching
you're-
4,
Right.
So I almost have to put blinders on and try to do something else and try to get those big bites for a tournament,
Yeah. So what is the tournament scene going to do as far as, are they just going to hit, Otay and San V and
You just go to those, you just go to those open lakes. San Vicente was closed for 10 years.
right?
So El Cap and Otay took on all the tournament. And that was even when there was more clubs in San Diego.
Yeah.
Now there's only 11 clubs in San Diego. We have the team series. We have ABA. I guess National Bass West is coming back. But so there's still going to be that tournament scene, but it's going to be, hopefully Otay will have water. Otherwise, everything's going to be at San Vicente.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got.
Right. Now, do any of the smaller clubs ever do like Miramar or Murray or anything like that, or not so much?
So not really. They'll do Sutherland for sure. We did Sutherland once this year. I know North County did Sutherland a couple times. Bass Company does Sutherland. We may have to branch out and like maybe, I don't know, maybe go to the river more than we go to the river, lower river twice.
Yeah, like
And
Parker
then have us
area.
do one time. So maybe we'll do another out of town tournament, maybe 4 times, maybe 4
Yeah.
out of towns kind of thing. So we'll just have to see and play it by ear. Hopefully we get rain.
Right. That would be nice. That
Yeah,
would be nice.
yeah.
Well, it's getting
that's
to be
really
that
what's
time of
gonna-
the year.
Yeah, that's really what's going to be the player. And my brain, it kind of explodes, and I do all the conspiracy theories and even if it does rain, are they just going to suck the water back out and
Right.
keep using it? Because San Diego's in a deficit. And the reason they're using the water right now is because they don't have enough money to buy the water. Well, that money ain't gonna magically appear next year,
Right.
So are they just gonna do the same thing and just use the water again? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't. If I start thinking that way, then I get all depressed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's not worth it. Just go with
Yeah.
what happens and try to make
Right.
the best out of whatever situation we get put in.
right. Yeah.
And like you
Right.
said, at least we have places to fish, in San Diego.
Yes. At this point, we do. At this point, we do. And it's not like they're closing the lakes.
No.
It's just that the lawn tramps are closed. So I can't have a white wine problem of of launching my bass boat, launching my $20,000 bass boat or whatever
Yeah.
on a lake. The lake is still open. I can go fish, and there is a
Right.
launch ramp available at another lake. So,
Right.
uh,
It.
um,
We enjoy our first world problem. Right.
right, first world problems. I don't like thinking of it that way, but when in reality, that's kind of what it is.
Right. But we also we live in San Diego and we love being spoiled.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
we're here.
We've had these lakes for a long time, and they've produced for us for a long time, and yes, we're used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I really hope Otay. I hope we get the water back as far as just get some rain this year.
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah.
that'll be
The
nice.
water's there. The water is there. There's water in Morena, which is not a lot, but there's water in Morena. There's water in Barrett. I mean, if they pull water out of Barrett to go to Otay, they can pull
Yeah.
water out of Morena to go into Barrett.
Into Barrett to go into right. Hey,
Yeah.
do you ever fish Morena?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of
And
like
it was good. It was good this year. Yeah, it was good this year, but there was a lot of small fish.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
I
And the times that
heard
I
it was
went up
really.
there,
There's like a window where it gets really good and then it gets hot and then people don't want to go there.
Yes, it gets very hot there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they get very picky about the quagga situation at the
Yes.
check, I've heard.
Yes, they do. In fact, that's why I stopped going. So there was a time in 2014 that I was all into the whole fly fishing thing.
Right.
And I was fly fishing all the San Diego lakes, and I was catching bass, I was catching whatever on the fly rod.
Yeah.
And that year I was going to Morena a lot because they had pulled the water so far down. They pulled it down to 3% that year.
Right. I remember
And
that.
it just everything was just in that pond.
Yeah, it was so concentrated.
So concentrated. And it was I tell you, this is kind of a really a great story. And something happened that year, and I'm a huge trout fisherman.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that. Cool.
I was really kind of going up there for the trout, and I just kind of stumbled upon it. I knew there was always trout in there, but that year they had a hatchery that had frozen, and they had to get rid of the fish.
Oh, wow.
And all the fish were like literally 3 to 7 pounds.
Whoa.
And so they dumped them in Morena.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had this population of huge fish in Lake Morena, which was 3% at the time. And then you had carp, bass, catfish, crappie, these giant trout,
Wow.
and giant bass at the time.
Yeah.
And nobody went up there because there was no water in the lake, so they all stayed away.
Right.
I would go up there and I would be by myself catching 7-pound rainbow trout on my fly rod.
That's amazing.
And it was amazing. It was such an amazing springtime.
Yeah.
But then the reason that I quit going up there was because they were giving me such a hard time about launching my float tube.
Right.
Like I would 2 days, 3 days in a row. One day I went up there and I had mud on my float tube.
Right. And they won't allow. Yeah.
Which was from Lake Morena, because that was the only place I had gone. I said,
Right.
well, it's just from you. And it was just only like a quarter, half a dollar size.
Yeah.
Nope. Can't do it. You're out. You can't launch today. Okay. So I went the next day, cleaned my float tube, went the next day, left it in the back of my truck, went out there, and it was foggy.
Okay.
And I got there and they're like, well, your float tube's wet. So we can't let you launch. I said, it's foggy. It's foggy. And they're like, yeah, well, we can't do it. So that was 2 days in a row, 60 miles each way.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I can't do this. I can't go out there and hope that they're going to let me on the lake. So I kind of quit going. And that was in 2014. And I really haven't done much since then. I go back every once in a while.
Yeah, me too. It's every once in a while. I almost forget it's there. We got that gem. It's a haul to get there.
It is.
And you're almost
So
halfway to the river at that point, or a good portion of the way to the river, and it's like, well, maybe I just keep going.
might as well go another 2 hours and just go to the river.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, yeah, I didn't know you were into trout. I love trout fishing. Fly fishing's awesome.
Oh man, I did it for a lot of years. That's where I did a whole lot of float tubing.
Yeah,
Was I would take my float tubes up to Idaho and Wyoming, Montana, and whatever, and we'd float tube these lakes and fish ice out. We would be
yeah.
on the lake with ice on the water
I did that in the
and
Sierras
big
plenty of
chunks of it
times.
floating around.
Oh,
And yeah, that was a lot. That was a good time. That
you
was a
fish
very good
until you
time.
can't feel below your knees, and then
Pretty much.
like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll take a break for just a little bit, and then I'll
I
come back.
learned a lot about layering and different materials and
Yeah,
breathability and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
totally. No,
Yeah.
I got to go up to Montana to do some fly fishing last summer, and it was an absolutely epic time. It was.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic up there.
And for the bass fishermen out there who haven't done it, it's an entirely different activity, but just as gratifying. I think
Mhm.
it's just as gratifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Scenery is just otherworldly. Otherworldly as far
Right.
as looking around and so much
Totally.
water.
Yeah.
Never be
Too
able to
much
fish
water
all the
and
time.
not enough time to fish everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that feeling as a little kid driving across the country with my parents. Every time I see like a lake, a river, stream, creek, I'd wonder what kind of fish were in there. And
Hmm.
just when am I going to get to fish this? And
Yeah.
I'll probably never get to fish most of those places, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I still feel that way when I see a body of water these days. I wonder what's in there. I wonder if you can fish that. I wonder.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
All right. Well, Chris, I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, my
And
pleasure. Anytime.
we're gonna have you back earlier than a year next time.
Okay.
We're not gonna wait a year next time.
No problem.
And yeah, hopefully this upcoming winter time is treat you good.
Yeah.
And do you have any last comments? Any comments?
Oh,
So-
you know what? If you get a chance to get out there and, get a float tubing doesn't have to be expensive. It can be as expensive as you want to make it for a couple $100. You can get yourself waders, fins, and a float tube and fish the lakes that aren't available to fish with a boat. And I'd love to
Yeah.
see all those people out there.
Yeah.
If I see you on the water, please come up and say hi. It's always fun hanging out and being able to talk to people. So
Yeah.
we've got the all of the resources. Might as well use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really
All right,
appreciate
well-
you having me on.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Bruce. Have a great night.